All right. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the forecast for next week for I think it's 20th until the 25th, 24th, 24th. Yeah, 24th of May. And yeah, let's get it. Let's get into it. Let's dive into it. And let's see, because last week, let's first hold up. Let's clean this up. Clean this up. Let's take that away. Let's take that away. Let's take that away. Let's take that away. And let's break it down. So we have a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low on our most major range. Most major structure level, sorry. We achieved premium on our most major structure level. We just missed that supply zone, but we tapped into this area here, that kind of gap area. We tapped into that key level, took into an range liquidity, reached premium, a nice overall weekly supply zone here. We tapped into where you can see that bearish break, bullish break, push to the downside. So the buy to sell move, we got into that. And yeah, so based on that, we would be looking at lower pricing. What we know is that dollar is weak, dollar sucks. So we know that there's, in my opinion, personally, because of what's going on in the world, um, Ukraine, the wars, and all that. I don't know how long dollar will keep its strength. Crypto is currently booming again, you know. Um, I feel like we will move somewhere up here. And actually, I think up here, I think it was here or here. It's where I started my trading journey. So that's nice if we get up there. But I feel like we can get up there. But there's one thing before that, and that's the lower pricing we want to achieve because we want DXY to reach higher into these areas up here. So one final push to the upside before we can get to death. And yeah, that's what I'm looking at on the long term. Now we know that EU has this bullish break here on that yellow structure. We know that we still need to reach back into those discounted areas before we can move long, or before we want to see price move long. Um, realigned with that, or aligned with that yellow structure, is our dark blue structure. Because yellow is above all highs, meaning we're looking for discounted pricing, aka lower pricing. And the dark blue structure tapped bearish, tapped into deep premium, and we're also looking at lower pricing. Now, what we can't ignore is that this is comparing to pricing we have now. This is a strong push compared to the bearish behavior or slow behavior we have here. Now, the good thing is that we are moving correctional on the way back. The bad thing is we're also correctional moving away into these lower areas. So it's a bit tricky. We're building up more liquidity here. Also, we can see that we have some strong candles in between. So there we go. We'll see here some strong pushes to the downside, also strong push to the upside. So it's a bit of both. Um, and really we just gotta wait for it and see what it gives us. That's always the case, but it's this is correctional. This is a push, strong push. Then this was correctional, but then we moved away quite correctional as well, where actually we wanted to see that momentum kick in. And now actually with the news from last Wednesday, yeah, we ended up with a strong push to the upside. The Thursday. Apologies. Thursday, we have that wick here. So you can see that wick. We actually just closed below that liquidity after that wick, that turnaround, and Friday ended with a super indecisive candle, not telling us anything. If anything, it's telling us we might turn around again and come up higher, but doji candle. So really for next week, what I'm looking at is we tapped into these premium areas. We can see that immediately after we started to turn around. Again, internal range liquidity, again, those wicks. So those wicks are really telling us a story that we might be able to push further down. Now, we can't ignore that we have news lows here. If we zoom in, we've got a news low here as well from Tuesday. So those are nice targets. Those usually don't hold a lot of liquidity, but do have a lot of stops below it, because once we have that push, people are like, okay, we're moving up. So they will be, I don't know if people do it like this, but I feel like they're doing it like this. Institutions be like, okay, we've got the move up, or they anticipate on the news outcome and they start to buy, meaning that somewhere on the downside, they have their stop loss or second orders to be filled. And their losing positions are, of course, money for the other positions that are short. So that's why we can target these news lows over here and over here. And that's my play for next week, where I hope to see that price will now pick up its momentum to the downside and really give us maybe even something like that. So not this entire length, but not usually when we see price picking up momentum, it will not achieve the premium or discount. Well, depending on the direction we're going. So I ideally hope to see that. So that means that my high time frame analysis is playing out, and anticipating on that, we can zoom in and still try to catch some trades. So for next week, what I'm looking at is, okay, we still have this high up here. This is our new previous weekly high, but we already took past previous weekly high. We already took internal range liquidity. The only thing we can't ignore is that we still have some bullishness here. There's some bullish momentum here, bullish momentum here. We have a low, high, higher low, potential higher high. If we zoom into the 15, we have a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, potential higher high as well. So we've got some bullish structure still going on, but I feel like that we either get something like this, or price will just move from here and push further down. At least, damn, that's a nice arrow. There we go. Clean. That we get something like that. And that's what I'm looking at for next week. If you zoom in further, we tap into this supply zone. Why was I interested in this supply zone? We have that break here, not really a strong break, but it is a break. Then we have another break here. So we've got something like that going on. Then I was like, okay, this is fake. This push here, this range is fake. So I was like, okay, we break above that liquidity, tap into the supply zone with some liquidity to it, and then we get a potential push further to the downside. And that's what I'm anticipating on, that we now move further to the downside. And why do we want to move further to the downside? Well, if we go to DXY, before I go to GU, DXY took these lows, not really any liquidity, but DXY tapped into that discounted area finally. We do have some lows still to the downside. Looking at EU again, we do have some highs to the upside, which can be quite tricky because of this range. But DXY is ready or theory-wise, we achieved discount price, so DXY is ready now to move up higher. Whether it's going to happen or not, we don't know. We will see. But that's what we're anticipating on, and that's what we're moving with, because we're following the structure ranges. And lower time frame, we just have to wait. Maybe we won't get a proper break here, and we just have to work with high, low, lower high, lower low, and then we can look for trades from here to continue further down. Something like that. Okay, so that's EU. Not really liquidity low, that previous weekly low. So let's see what it has for us in pedo. Then GU, all right, super strong candle as well on the weekly. Sorry, can I get the weekly? There we go. And kind of same story as EU, where it took that liquidity just about and then left us a wick instead of a strong bullish closure to the upside. However, the break on EU was on Wednesday. Should look over here. There you go. The break of GU was on Friday. Took out previous daily highs there. Previous weekly lows down there. And if you just break down GU, what do we have? So high, low, lower high, lower low on our most major range. Then same as on EU again, we tapped into this premium area. Actually, nice supply zone there. Tapped into that. If you go to the daily, it's more visible what kind of area it was a high that led to a low sweep and a move down. We tapped into that, and then we got to the downside. Now we do have this bullish structure just like on EU, but sorry. We also have this bullish structure on the blue range, which is not like EU, and it's actually against all things else or everything else, sorry, because we want to reach lower. And what we can see is that we have that push to the downside, and this should have been some impulse in order to follow this structure, right? But it wasn't an impulse. It's super correctional. It's slow. So I feel like GU is gonna follow EU and DXY, and we might actually break this low here and break bearish, or at least this low and get something like that. But I do hope that we get that discount and then get it moved, because that's some nice structure realignment we have there. And then we don't have conflicting structures and we can all look in towards the same direction. So you can see liquidity taken. Literally towards the end of the session of the day, actually. We had that break, we had that push above. We were building up some liquidity here to the downside in form of those equals. That's nice. Short-term targets. Took those highs. So if you go to the 15, we have a low, high, a higher low, a higher high, taking out internal range liquidity, got liquidity to the downside. So ideally we take out previous weekly highs first, something like that, and then we get down, take out these lows, and from there we'll see what happens next. So just like EU, I'm looking at lower pricing. I can already take off the supply zone, and this is now our focus. We do have this bullish range as well, from this low up to this high, which is still valid. That's why I still have it on, but we have a realigned red structure as well. So we've just, let's see, actually, I made a mistake there. I'm not sharp. Look at this. So this can all go. This can go. This can go. This can go. This one will become 4-hour, but light blue. And this one will become 4-hour and light blue as well. Why? Because we achieved this kind of pricing. I forgot about that. I was not sharp. So we had that red structure and that light blue structure realigned. And now we have a low that led to a high, which means that we can remove these areas because it's noise. Although they're interesting, how I can do is maybe I'll just leave them. You might get below here and then get a fake move from these areas because they're quite solid, if you ask me. Put that liquidity below, so here. But yeah, GU, just like EU, looking at a lower pricing now. And really, that's my forecast because there's not much to cover. we achieved those premium areas. We took internal range liquidity even, so really low. We will now wait for confirmations on the lower time frames, structural realignments, and then we can short into the market. This is not an area where you want to look for longs. So let's see what the market gives us, and we can work with this. The XY, yeah, as I said, we took internal range liquidity, bullish break. So we now have a new fallet high, and yeah, that's looking better. That's looking good. So yeah, and there's nothing else to cover. It's been a quite simple forecast the last few weeks because we're still following this structure and price is a bit slow with it. So yeah, let's see. All right. I wish you guys good luck in the market. Okay, catch you guys later, and